How hot is too hot for your dogs? My name's Jade and I'm a UK registered veterinary nurse, and I've teamed up with the Post Office Pet Insurance to bring you this video on the most up-to-date and correct information on what you should do if your dog gets heat stroke. But heat stroke is a medical emergency. It can be fatal, so it is critical that you follow the most up-to-date and correct information. So I'm going to be talking to you about what dogs are at high risk of heat stroke, what are the signs and symptoms of heat stroke, and what should you really be doing if your dog gets heat stroke. So how hot is too hot for dogs? Unfortunately, there isn't a one size fits all answer to this question because all dogs cope differently in different temperatures depending on their age, breed, size, their coat type, their underlying health conditions or levels of exertion. However, there are certain breeds that are at higher risk of developing heat stroke, and these include brachycephalic dogs. So these are our flat-faced friends such as our pugs and bulldogs and shih tzus. Also senior dogs or puppies, overweight dogs, dogs with a thick double coat, or even dogs that have just got darker coats, so our black and our brown dogs, and dehydrated dogs, and also dogs that spend long periods of time outside in the sunshine, or dogs that are kept indoors in warm environments such as conservatories or utility rooms, or dogs that are kept inside hot cars. So knowing the signs and symptoms of heat stroke is essential because if you catch it early, there is a much better chance that your dog will survive. So symptoms of heat stroke is excessive panting, often with a flattened tongue, because this is primarily how our dogs thermoregulate. They might be actively seeking out shade or water, seem much more reluctant to walk, so they're much more lethargic. Their gum color might look different, so it might look a darker or a paler shade of pink. They might have hypersalivation, so a lot of drool coming out of their mouth. They might have a fast heart rate, they can have vomiting and diarrhea, they can have seizures, nosebleeds, and it can lead to weakness and collapse. So these are all the symptoms of heat stroke that you need to be aware of. So here is the correct information on what to do if your dog's got heat stroke. Firstly, you need to try and get your dog into a shaded or a cooled area. So this could be under a tree where there's some shade. It could be in a local shop where there's air conditioning. It could be at home. Bring them inside the house into an area that is cooled and well ventilated. Whatever you do, if you're out on a walk, do not try and march your dog home as quickly as possible, panicking, because the quicker you make your dog walk or run, the more exerted they're going to get and the worse the heat stroke is going to get. So try and keep them as calm as possible in a cooled or shaded area and offer them small amounts of water, little and often. Next, you need to either pour, hose, or immerse your dog into cold water. And yes, I said cold. The colder the better, okay? I know there's a lot of information out there that says you should use tepid water or don't immerse your dogs into water. This is incorrect, okay? Research has shown the best way to cool your dog if they have got heat stroke is by immersing them into cold water. Now, obviously make sure that your dog's nose and mouth stays above the water at all times, but it is super important that we try and rapidly cool the dog's body temperature as quickly as possible. So remember, wet, then vet. Once you have started actively cooling your dog, then you need to get them to the vets as soon as possible for a checkup. And there's a high chance your vet will probably want to admit your dog for further monitoring. But heat stroke is really, really serious. And like I said earlier, it is life-threatening. So please actively cool your dog and then get them to the vets as soon as possible.